So SC Sports Nation hit me up on Instagram, and his headline is that USC is going to win the national title, and they're going to beat Oklahoma in the college football playoff. Now, I'm interpreting this as Oklahoma is who they meet in the national title game. And the ripple effects on multiple fronts here are enormous. I mean, the obvious, if USC were to win the national title, is your defense went from bad, let's call a spade here, allowed 30 points a game last year, to good, to put it simply. Not bad to not bad to they were serviceable. You went from bad to good. So I'm imagining you're somewhere in the range of allowing 24 points a game, 25 points a game if you're USC on defense. That would be bad to good, in my humble opinion, a 5-point improvement. That would mean that those transfer portal additions on the defensive side of the football, all 8 of them, paid dividends. Bear Alexander is probably a dude for you. Anthony Lucas, transfer from Texas A&M, probably a dude for you. Mason Cobb, a guy who they expect to lead the defense at linebacker from Oklahoma State, probably a dude for you. So if they are who we believe they're going to be at USC, then the line of scrimmage is much more fortified on the defensive side of the ball. So you're not running how you ran against Tulane. You're not running how Utah ran the football. Like, we're better at tackling. We're kind of keeping things a little bit more solidified up front, to put it in a blunt fashion. But the offense is where I really want to focus, because it's obvious the defense have to improve. But the offense, I think, should USC win a national title, the offense would go from elite, right around 40 points a game last year, to historic. For USC to win a national title, I think that's what it would require. Because there's going to be some games, if they get to the college football playoff and play a team like a Georgia, play a team like a Michigan, if they meet any one of those teams on their road to a national title, they will not have the edge up front. And that's not knocking what they did in the portal. Again, I just told you they probably showed up and did a really good job as their first year on campus. But even so, man, you're not going to have a better line than Michigan, not going to have a better line than Georgia. So what is that going to mean for the offense? It means you have to dictate terms of that football game. What does dictating terms look like for me from a number standpoint? I think you got to go 2019 LSU on them. That 2019 team at LSU that had Joe Burrow, they averaged 48 points a game offensively. For USC to win a national title, I think you got to be right in that neighborhood, 48, 49 points a game. I think that's what it will take. Because when the defense doesn't have the edge or doesn't have enough to hold up against one of those teams, which you would imagine is probably the situation you find yourself from a personnel standpoint, it's got to be a track meet. It's got to be, okay, it is what it is. You got to match scores with us. Ready? Go. 49 points a game. That's what I think it would take for USC. You pull up to the facility, pull up to the stadium, tape your ankles, drink your Gatorade, get your smelling salts. You better be able to keep scores with us. That's what I think USC would have to do for them to win a national title. So if they were to win a national title and this situation plays out how it would, what does it say about USC? Well, all the talk about Lincoln Riley, and he can't win the big one, and he's just a portal guy, all that noise just kind of gets turned down quite a bit. You're not talking about that anymore. You refer to him as national champion, Lincoln Riley. Caleb Williams, if he's not the GOAT at USC in terms of the best player to ever come through there, after winning a national title and probably winning a second Heisman Trophy if they win a national title, he's one of them. He's on the Mount Rushmore, man. And this also, I think, for future teams, sets a path, gives a blueprint for how you can flip your roster in 2 seasons via the transfer portal and win a national title. That would set the blueprint for, I think, future coaches as to how they can do it, when they need to look, positions, all that. Now, Caleb Williams obviously is a part of their transfer portal success, so that's a pretty big variable to hit on, but you hear what I'm saying. I think it does kind of impact how coaches could build through the portal if USC gets to the top of the mountain this coming season. Now, the interesting part about this headline, SC Sports Nation has USC beating Oklahoma in the national title game. And given what we know about USC and Oklahoma, they don't like each other, and that's fine. You don't got to like each other playing college football. It's a beautiful part about this. We glorify rivalries here. But I think the impact for Oklahoma, should they make the national title game and lose, what are we saying about Oklahoma? There are people, this offseason saying, I don't know if Brent Venables is even a head coach. Well, if he takes Oklahoma from 6-7 to competing for a national championship, I think he's a head coach. think he's got the chops. The other part of this is they probably won the Big 12. My, how the turntables, to quote Michael Scott. Like, that'd be the situation right now for Oklahoma should they go and play for a national title. The transfer portal, what they did on defense, that obviously came to fruition quick, fast, in a hurry. They put that together under Brent Venables in a very short amount of time. And you probably feel worlds better about entering into the SEC if you're Oklahoma coming off of a national title game appearance. All the chatter around what's Oklahoma going to do, what's Texas going to do. How are we talking about Oklahoma if they play for a national title? Very, very differently than how we did this past offseason, which I think is pretty straightforward. But we're at least talking about them being in that top tier within the SEC. So, the last thing, though, for Oklahoma, what does it mean for recruiting for them? They had a top 10 class in 2023. They won 6 football games. What happens if they win double-digit football games and play for a national title? That was my rocket sound for those of y'all listening on podcast. It would explode. It would absolutely take off. Oklahoma already has brand and resources and all that, but if they were to put a product on the field under Brent Venables, have proof of concept, hey, now look out for Oklahoma. Even if they don't win the national title, even if it stings a little bit losing to USC and your former head coach, like, the future for Oklahoma would be extremely, extremely bright. So either side of this, you play for a national title, both second-year head coaches at their own destinations, you got to feel pretty good about where you stand when that college football playoff does expand. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.